Hello again, everybody. Jim Hickey with websitepresence.org coming back with the next in the series of keyword research videos associated with the Keyword Research Demystified version 2.e ebook that was released recently. Okay, in the last video we looked at doing some preliminary keyword evaluation, which included determining the number of exact match searches available for a specific keyword, and doing an initial competition analysis looking at the number of pages that use a keyword phrase both on the page and in the title. Okay, and we had some criteria that we had established for those. 1,000, well, realistic, we would like to see 1,000 exact match searches per month, okay, as far as the search volume, and then have less than 30,000 competing pages with the complete phrase together used on pages, on the pages that get listed in the search results, and less than 10,000 pages with that keyword phrase used in the title. And you may recall we used Forever Blue Jeans, and even though it wouldn't have necessarily carried forward, in order just to be consistent, I'm actually going to use that in this demonstration tonight. Like I said, in the future there'll be a couple of videos showing a kind of a live, more applied keyword research process where I actually do just everything live. Work through the whole process. One scenario will be one that basically doesn't work, and another one will be one that does. So you'll get to see it again up close and personal, if you will. Okay, so what exactly are we going to want to accomplish when we bring up Traffic Travis? Now, first of all, I'm going to assume that you can go out, you're a Windows user, you've gone out to the Traffic Travis site, there's a link in the ebook that will bring you directly to that, you've downloaded it and installed it. And there's a number of tools within it. You know, they even have a keyword research tool that doesn't seem to work all that reliably all the time, because Google is constantly changing their AdWords thing, which I told you about earlier. And Traffic Travis doesn't seem to do as good a job as other tools do at keeping up with that. This competition analysis mode, however, it does seem to be working pretty well. It draws on some other data, so it seems to be far more accurate, and is at least good for conducting this phase of the competition analysis. So just keep that in mind. So you've got it installed. You're ready to fire it up. I've already fired it up. I've actually done the search already because it actually takes a few minutes rather than just sitting there and watching the wheel spin. So when I bring that window up, the data will be there, and then I'll explain what it all means. But you'll notice that there's a set of columns that will appear. It'll include things like page rank for the page that's being listed, the age of the domain, backlinks, excuse me, to that specific page, overall backlinks to the domain. That's something they call TBL, which has to do with the number of links coming from edu and .gov sites. There's the DMOZ and Yahoo directories, and there's a check there if they happen to be listed in those things, just something else we'll check. And then there's the on-page SEO factors, the title, description, and H1 tags. So we'll go through all of that. One thing I wanted to note, a lot of people say sites list on page 1 of Google, and it's not really sites, it's pages within the site that list on page 1 of Google, and that's really what the page rank is associated with. I have a number of sites, for instance, that have various pages throughout them that have page ranks, you know, anywhere from, well, not page ranked up to page 3 or 4 in one case, but you know, other pages on that same site have different page ranks, so it all varies. It's not the whole site that gets ranked, it's the individual pages that get listed in the search engine listings. So what are we looking for when we're looking at that first column of page rank, which has to do with the authority of the page? We want the average of the top 10 listings, because that's really what we're concerned about. You want to get in the top 10. Ideally, you want to be number 1. You know, if you were doing this for search engine purposes. But you want to know the strength of those sites, because even if you're going out to places like eZine articles or hub pages, you know, again, remember that's a proxy for, you know, what you may be up against there when you're using the search functions within those sites as well. But you want to take the average and make sure that it's less than 3 to 4 Anyways, you don't want to see a lot of 4, 5, 6s in the page rank column. The age of the domain you'd like to see as low as possible, but that's really something we can't control, and it will be a factor if all the other factors are lining up against you. If most of the other factors aren't, it doesn't seem to be that big of a deal. Okay, backlinks to the page. That is actually the links coming into that specific page. You want to look for a number that's ideally less than 3,000. And if the bulk of them are, I don't let an occasional one that's higher, maybe even substantially higher, bother me, because this is, again, another level of competition analysis. If I was going to really dig into a keyword, I'd go check to see what types of links those were using a couple of different tools that are available. Because oftentimes you'll see that a lot of those are internal links, which actually Google will count. I mean, the places that tabulate these things, actually where they get their data from, it's Yahoo. But so, you can be linking from one page to another in your site, and that counts as a link. At other times, it's coming from weak sites like, forum sites, just in forum profiles, and those are actually, the credit for those things seems to be dwindling away with time. Or if you go out to other sites with low page rank or no page rank, those links count, but they don't count as heavily as a link coming from a higher page rank site. So that's a more detailed level of analysis that I would go into, particularly if I was developing a whole site. If I was just doing an article, I may not even go that far if I felt pretty comfortable with what I was saying. But the backlinks to the page, ideally below 300, and if most of those are in the top 10 spots, I'm going to feel pretty comfortable. If there's one or two that are anomalous, especially if they're not right on top, I'm going to assume those are probably not very strong links. And again, if I'm just going for an article or a hub page or something like that, it's not going to bother me as much. I'll look into it in more detail if I'm going to develop a site. Backlinks to the domain, you want low, but again, that's one of those things that's only really going to count against you if everything else is stacking up against you. All right, so I kind of look at it, but don't usually give it a lot of thought, and I just kind of use it as one of those final nails in the coffin if everything's, again, stacking up against you. TBL is the number of edu and .gov links that go to the site, and again, these are usually considered to be very decent authority sites, although edu, from what I understand and from what seems to be coming out of reports of Google and other places, a lot of edu institutions that operate sites like forums, you can go in and get an account at it and actually establish a forum presence. Because a lot of people have gone in and spammed those just to get links from them, they actually asked to have those links not weighed as heavily so that they didn't get that type of competition. So we'll have to see all that all plays out, but that's just another factor. Again, one of those last nails in the coffin at this point that I'll use. The DMOZ and YHD are two directories, DMOZ and Yahoo. Yahoo's paid, DMOZ is free. Just make note if they're checked, and again, nails down the road. And then the other factors you really want to be paying attention to are the title, description, and H1 tag columns. Those are the on-page SEO factors. You basically want those to be all red X's. And if the green check marks start to show up, you want to see very few of those. But, again, that's the on-page factors. So the things we're really going to be keying in on here are really the page rank, the backlinks to the domain, and the on-page factors. That's really going to give a sense of how strong of a competitor those 10 sites at the top, page one of Google might be, which again could give you an indication of what you might be up against even within easy articles or hub pages. At least a general sense how competitive it's going to be when you get there. And then the other things really, if those things really aren't working out that well, and those other factors are also not looking so good, you're going to shove that keyword aside and move forward. Okay, so now we'll go over to Traffic Travis. And as I promised, here's Traffic Travis. When you first open that Traffic Travis up, there's a whole, there's like 7 different possible tools within it. And the tool that I went for here is the SEO Analysis. When you open up the page, it's over here on the right. I think it's the third one down on the right. It shows up down here. And what this analysis window does, you're able to enter your keyword phrase. In this case, it's the Forever Blue Jeans. Yes, I know it didn't make the first cut because there wasn't enough search volume, but it did make those other 2 parameters. Is it competitive at this level? That's what we're about to find out. The program then goes out to Google, pulls in the data for positions 1 through 10. You can also get 1 through 20. I usually stay with 1 through 10. Since I'm working in the United States, I always make sure my search location is the US. Once you have that data entered, you just hit the Analyze button. It goes out, does its thing, pulls in the excuse me. Here's the URLs for the 10 websites. Here's the page rank associated with those websites, the ages, the backlinks to the page, backlinks to the domain, the .edu.gov links, DMOZ and Yahoo, and then the SEO on page factors. They also give a difficulty rating, which from what I can tell is heavily weighted over on this side, and a little bit on the number of backlinks and the page rank, but more so seems to be here. For this one, you can see they think it's relatively easy. But what did I say? For page rank, we want the average to be less than what? Number 3 or number 4. And if you come down and average these all up, we got 10, 15, 16, 19. So it's definitely less than 3 or 4. It's actually right around 2. So that's pretty good. Page rank is on the low side, looking pretty good. They all have domain ages pretty much, but again, I don't concern that unless there are other factors going on. As I scan most of these backlinks, most of them are very low. Okay, 80, 1, and everything else is in the teens or less than 20. These two up here are fairly high, but they're YouTube, and I can tell you right now that it's sometimes not that difficult to actually displace tubes like YouTube. So the competition from those sites might not be that bad. I mean, I'm looking pretty favorably upon this right now. Backlinks to the domain, again, I don't worry about that unless everything else is stacking up against us. The edu.gov, there's only one site that has one. Almost all these sites are in DMOZ. Okay, it's being confused about Yahoo. I'm not going to worry about that. And none of them are optimized on page. So yeah, if this thing had decent search volume and worked out for us, I'd be diving into this keyword more deeply, also going back to my keyword list to see what other keywords were there, to see if there's multiple pieces of content I could generate. And if a number of those keywords all come out with this same type of result on the analysis, and then I'd probably check out, and again, it's going to depend on what I'm going to do. If I'm just going to do a couple of hub pages or easy article submissions, I may not even take it any further. I may just go ahead, hey, write it, put it in there, do a little bookmarking and other things to throw a few links at it to get it going and see what happens. Because that motion in and of itself, since those are authority sites in and of themselves, will often give you an indication of how competitive it is. Okay, I mean, if they rank quickly and they hold their rank in the search engines, chances are they may even hold their rank within their systems and allow you to get traffic possibly from the search engines and from the site itself. Remember, anytime that we're doing this, we're trying to get traffic from wherever we can get it. And my perspective is simple. And actually, anytime I go out to build a site, I'll try to at least get, if at all possible, some keywords that I can optimize to possibly pull in a little traffic from the search engines, knowing that I'm also going to be shooting at going out to easy articles and hub pages and putting up some videos possibly in order to support this, and trying to get people to click through to those links, to get as much of an integrated traffic stream as I possibly can. I don't all want it sitting in one boat. Go over and do some social media things, maybe in Twitter, or definitely maybe now in Facebook. Again, anytime, but I never want to become reliant on any one traffic source. And I know there's a lot of buzz right now about Facebook and how great it is. But the one thing that always worries me about Facebook, or even hub pages and easy articles, or WordPress.com, the free WordPress site, or Blogger, you have to log into those systems. And every time you log into those systems, you're agreeing to their terms of service. And if for whatever reason they decide to change those, it could affect you instantaneously. I mean, everybody complains about Google, but Facebook and all the other places do it as well. So I hope that gives some sense of how to go about, first of all, getting at this data. Install Traffic Travis, run it. It's simple to go to this tool, just enter the data. It does it. I've given you the parameters by which you can interpret it. And if you're just looking at submitting articles, hubs, squidoo lenses, videos, this will give you some pretty good insight of what your competition might be like and whether you can get some real traffic from that possibly. Anyways, hope you find it helpful. This actually completes the set of videos, excuse me, that's associated with the ebook and what I initially wanted to accomplish. Next up, and it'll be in several days. Actually, it might not be till next weekend. We'll have to see how things go this week. Will be the next two videos where I go in and first walk through the analysis of some keywords where things don't turn out so well, and then there'll be a second go around where I do the same thing where it does turn out fairly well. So look forward to getting those to you later. If you have any questions, you can leave word on websitepresence.org. I have a contact form there. Leave a comment on any of the posts, or I hang around Chris Farrell Membership Forum from time to time. You can definitely find me. Have a wonderful day.